So I can't take my dog to the park anymore because ducks keep biting him. I should have known this was happen because, after all, he is purebred.
Oh, God's sake, man. Fucking hell.
I'm still working on that one. I'm still churning that one over.
Purebred. Bred. Ducks. Attacking him. Oh dear! What people don't realise is this is our second attempt at this opening, and I've already burnt up another joke.
Oh no!
Count your lucky stars, folks. That's one less you're going to have to hear.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, if we can have a couple more technical problems, then because I can't go back to them again because I can't get this kind of class reaction off of you guys by repeating the old jokes. Anyway, hello everybody and welcome to the Black Dog version 2, episode 74. I'm Lee.
I'm Darren.
I'm Jim.
And I'm Elton.
And this week we'll see how everyone's week's been, well, except for mine because I did fuck all. And then we will move on to some feedback, which is coming from Odile. And then we will move on to this week's movie, this week's Indeterminate Weeks of Horror movie. Which was my choice, which was The Empty Man, which is available on Starz via Disney. And I was assured that was a cult movie in the making. So we'll get through to that because nobody heard of it, and now we've watched it. So there.
Yeah.
He says, desperately trying to keep his powder dry. So anyway, there you go.
I'm trying to read into that.
And so we will get onto that shortly. But before that, let's get on with how everyone's week's been. And we will start with you, Elton. How's it been, sir?
It's been very good, actually. It was the week of Amanda's birthday.
Okay. Happy birthday, Amanda.
Yes, indeed. Happy birthday.
I organised a little surprise on the Saturday.
Strippers?
No.
Okay.
Can't afford that.
Okay.
Crosses that off list.
Okay.
No, it was something that you'd done recently, actually. But I'd been planning this for a while. I'd seen a couple of friends do it.
Clean the garden?
I'd seen a couple of friends do it during the...
Strippers?
Yeah. Anyway, carry on.
No, I can't afford that. Scrubs that off the list. Anyway.
Yes.
So, Jacob was coming up from uni. I booked in to do some axe throwing.
Ah.
And there's a place 30 minutes away from us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which is very handy indeed. And so I booked 2 adults and a child. So I knew it'll either be me and Amanda doing it with Kimmy or Jacob and Amanda doing it with Kimmy. And I can stand back and take photos and such.
Yeah.
And Jacob turned up and, yeah, we went there. Unfortunately, it was drizzling all the way through. And so what started out as, oh, this is different, which turned into, oh, we're having really good fun. And then it turned into, this path that I've been walking up and down for the last hour is very muddy and slushy, and I'm carrying axes. So
Nice.
So, but do you know what? It was a good time had by all.
Nice.
We didn't do any dual throwing of axes. It was more throwing at the target, getting your eye in, and then playing cards were added and which were like a big size, big foam playing card, so they were quite easy to hit. And then the guy went, okay, right, we're going to play another game now. And he got out real playing cards, and you're going to hit these.
Oh,
and
right.
then I watched for half hour while people just threw axes at a board and never hit a single card. It was like, oh. And you could see the frustration of, we're not hitting anything.
Yeah.
This is really crap.
This
but
is difficult, yeah.
Yeah, it was it was really hard. But yeah, everyone had a really good time. It was a bit of a shame it was drizzling, but I think we soldiered through it and we all came away. I couldn't stop smiling though. That was the thing. It was one of them things where I was watching the family have fun and I'd kind of prepared it
Yeah.
and I was just smiling all the way through. I came away with like a big Cheshire grin. Although I wish the fuckers would signpost the place because it took me fucking ages to find it.
Nice.
You know when you prepare something, like this is going to be amazing. We're going to have a good time. We're all going to come away happy. It's going to be brilliant. And then you're just driving up and down the road going, well, it says on fucking Google Maps it's right there and it's not there. And you're turning around and you're going into primary schools where you think, well, it's saying there, it could be down there. Okay, it's not there, so you come out. And then you drive into the sports centre, which it actually turned out to be on their grounds. But you're walking around going, I can't see it. I can't see it. And then you bump into a person. Right, can you tell me where this axe throwing place is? It's right over there, mate. And he started pointing. Honestly, it was a moment of couldn't see the wood for the trees because he was pointing directly at it. I couldn't see it, though. I don't know what it was. It wasn't camoed or anything like that, so it didn't have camouflage on it. It was like, oh, wow, it blends into the background. It was just a matter of he was pointed at it, I couldn't see it, and I got confused.
Yeah.
I had one of them moments.
So was the first test to actually find the place then was clearly your huntsman's skills?
It felt like, you needed your tracker skills turned up to 11 to actually find the place.
Nice. And by the way, may I ask, are you a one-handed tosser or an overhead tosser?
I didn't do any tossing because basically couldn't afford it. I could only afford 3 people to do it, unfortunately. So
I'm going to get it for free. Oh, not that kind. Sorry. Forget I said that. Edit that out.
No, you keep that.
Shit.
So you weren't any kind of tosser at all.
I was not a tosser, no.
Oh, never mind.
Contrary to rumours.
Contrary to rumours.
Yes.
Do you feel like you would have been an overhead tosser or a one-handed tosser? Or
I would definitely be a one-handed tosser. I think I would be good with both hands, though.
Well, it's all about being good with both hands. I think I was an overhead tosser myself.
Yeah, I don't think I'll be overhead tosser. Very ambidextrous.
No,
Have we got to think of a new nickname for you now? Nothing like Stumpy or Leggy Mountbatten or anything like that, no?
No.
Everything okay in the, limbs and digits department? All right, all good, yeah?
It's only a flesh wound.
yeah,
All right. Okay.
'tis but a scratch. Did you have any of the usual? I mean, this is based on my own experience. Did you have any of the usual screaming as it bounces off and comes flying back at you?
No, it wasn't too bad, actually. There was a moment where Kimmy threw it and it hit the frame of where the target was. And it took a big wedge of the wood out. It's like, oh, that's not supposed to happen, is it? And then Amanda did exactly the same thing on her frame as well. I was like, we're slowly cutting this building down, aren't we?
Yeah, it's not really an axe throwing place. It's just a cheap demolitions job.
Yeah.
You go back next week, we'll be throwing sledgehammers at the plaster.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, your job this week. Your mission this week is to axe throw these chisels through this plasterboard.
See how many roof tiles you can smash with this. Not that we're bringing down this building or anything.
No, exactly. Yeah, and then after that, come back next week for the foundation filling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Bulldozer driving.
So Kimmy was like an axe throwing version of Fred Dibner. Then is that right? taking things apart bit by bit, less with explosives, more with axes.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool,
Nice.
But it's good fun. It's on the pricey side, but they've only just started up. But I was speaking to the guy there. He said they only started in August, I think it was. But demand has been very good, especially through the holidays. And so I would imagine next year and throughout the summer, it would be a thing that people would be going to.
Well, it is terrific fun. Definitely, it is really worth doing. That's really cool. Are you actually going to go back and give it a try now, or are you just happy that it sort of went well and just done deal, one and done?
I wouldn't mind having a go. I'll wait until finances are a bit better and then go back there and do it. But it's just one of the things, Look, we all came away with all of our limbs. Nobody got their toes cut off or anything like that. And, came away with smiles. So it was a good day.
Yeah, just go buy some tools. Just go and buy some tools from Homebase and just set it up in your own garden, mate. I'm sure it'll be fine.
I was thinking that.
I bet you were.
I was like, how can I adapt this for my house? And then I was thinking, no, we got a dog, haven't we? He'll be trying to catch it. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It'll be fun for the first 3 goes, and then he catches one in the chops. You're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, don't worry. When if I come around, I'll come around and we can set something up. I'll be excellent with that.
Yeah, we'll have to look up on YouTube how to sew up a dog's mouth after it's been hit by an axe. I'm sure they got a video on that on YouTube.
Well, if you can find a video on YouTube about repairing dishwashers, mate, I'm sure you can find one about fixing dogs after they've been hit with an axe.
Definitely.
I'd be very surprised if you couldn't.
Yeah.
So anyway, anything else, sir?
Anything else? No. I think Odile waiting for me to have a rant. I'm not going to be having a rant. I haven't got the energy to have a rant, no.
No. Could I ask what your rant would be about if it was a rant?
No, it's very political, so I'm not even going to bother touching that, so don't worry.
Okay.
I had a win. This is very old man stuff as well.
Go on.
Got my car insurance down.
Right.
From 650 quid to £360.
Is that because your car has just got cheaper?
No.
Is that because Jacob
no, because
they're
no robbing bastards. They're robbing bastards.
Oh yeah.
And do you know what? I stuck it to the man. I crossed my arms, stamped my feet, and went, "No, I will not accept this. I shall go out searching." and what I did, I just typed it on the computer and had a look.
Yeah, you just went findameerkat.com and just was done.
Yeah, that was exactly it, actually. I felt dirty doing it, but it actually worked. So
nice.
I cannot moan.
Excellent. Okie dokie. Well, that's that. I tell you what, as old man as it sounds, it's a win. I take the wins where you can get them these days, mate.
High fives all round, innit?
High fives, yeah. Look at that. So, we're slowly turning into like the Martin Lewis money program or something, aren't we? How to save an extra 50p on your bills by just using cling film across your windows.
Don't give me ideas.
Cheap double glazing using only Tupperware and some duct tape.
Exactly. How to lower your energy use in your house by putting duct tape over the mouth of the housemate that you're living with currently. Oops, did I say that out loud?
Yeah, exactly. By not allowing any air to escape the house, you heat up the house with your own breath, though you trap the carbon so it doesn't go outside.
All it needs is a car exhaust and some hose pipe.
Yeah,
anyway,
make the
fed
fuel
through his bedroom.
Make the fuel work for you. Okay, well then, in which case, we'll move on. We'll move on to you, Jim. How's your week been, sir?
Been fairly pleasant. As a had a short little break away at the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Teresa's birthday, and we booked her to go away. Not exactly camping, but staying in what's called a shepherd's hut.
Oh, okay.
Which is kind of, if you imagine, kind of like a little gypsy caravan.
Okay.
And they are little, essentially like little old-fashioned wooden caravans that literally shepherds used to just stay in when they were out watching the flocks.
Right.
So it's quite small and compact. And a TV, a DVD player, like a proper bed, and pots and pans and a kettle. And on site there was like actually a kitchen you could use. Nice. It's a nice place called Serenity Camping, which basically very, very strict on everything being quiet.
Yeah.
But they have a couple of fields for tents and like another field for like touring caravans, like parks for like people with camper vans and mobile homes, RVs, that kind of thing, and some static caravans. But they have two of these shepherd's huts, and so we thought, a bit more different than just saying a boring old caravan. And we could take the dog as well. And it was a little village called Hinderwell, which is kind of just a little bit north to Whitby. Whitby's about 10 minutes down the road.
Okay.
And just even closer is another North Yorkshire fishing village called Staithes. And so the weather was kind of fairly mild, a bit quite overcast, a bit blowy, but it stayed mainly dry until this morning. But we're coming home, so bollocks to that. That was a win. And it was just really, really nice and just tranquil and quiet. I think what we needed. It was such a stressful time.
Yes.
I had a lovely meal out at a local pub in the village called the Brown Cow, which there was two. There's one was called the Badger Hounds, who were kind of looks a bit gastro pub. And on Sunday, it was kind of Teresa sent the message, have you got any vacancies? And said, well, look at our website, you'll see when the meal times are. I go, well, fuck you then.
Yeah, fuck off. Yep.
Whereas the Brown Cow and TripAdvisor, people go, oh, it needs a makeover. And was like, that sounds ideal. Sounds like a proper pub. And
That's
indeed
a win,
it was a
isn't
proper old-style pub. I had steak and chips, steak cooked medium, literally textbook medium.
Nice.
Little char on the outside, pink in the middle. Spot on. It was pretty good because the barman cooked it as well. But it was just really friendly and nice, you know what I mean? It couldn't do enough for you, and just good hearty food, and 2 drinks for £7, hurrah.
Wow.
Nice.
So that was a win.
Surprised you came home.
Well, we were just tempted to stay at that price, bloody hell. So then yesterday went to Staithes for the day, and that's kind of lovely old like quaint fishing village, very rugged, and but that's like literally on the seafront, a pub called the Cod and Lobster, which is famous for its seafood. So we had her birthday meal there, and she had like deep fried sea bass, which was amazing. And I had to serve some traditional fish and chips with local fish caught. And the fish, I kid you not, was about 1.5 foot.
Really?
Big gold. Literally, just gigantic plates. So big. It's like, okay, I've got a whole cod here, okay. But it was absolutely beautiful. The batter was like golden, crispy. The fish was like just like moist and flaky, and no bones, no skin, no grubbly bits hiding in the batter. It was just kind of, that was good, and like a tenner.
Nice.
I don't need to eat till Tuesday now.
Yeah.
Wheel me back home up the hill, I'll be fine.
I can go into hibernation.
That fish sounds like something I had once in a pub. It was a food challenge, and they called it the Great Cod Almighty. Right? And I think it was about as big as that, maybe 2 foot, I don't know, but it sounds like the same sort of thing. Did you need a team of men to help you with the fish, No?
Very nearly. Well, they were there a while. But, it's kind of... We booked the car for 4 hours, so we were good. Just planned ahead.
Just roll into the car at the end. And I can't reach the pedals. Me gut's getting up to the window, up to the steering wheel. Oh, I'm more fish now than man.
Yeah, so that was really good. Just kind of, and again, stupidly cheap as well. It's kind of come to Yorkshire. It's beautiful and cheap. But considering it was like an overcast, blowy Monday in October, we thought there's going to be nobody there. And actually, it was like jam packed with people. Unbelievable. Yeah. It's kind of, this was just, it's part of like the North Yorkshire National Heritage Park, which is a huge area of places, and there's a whole like trail of different places you can go and visit. And it's kind of, God knows what it's like in the summer when the weather's nice. But it was nice to take the little dog. She saw the sea and kind of galloped along the beach. Thought that was great. Tried a bit of my fish and chips. Quite.
Yep.
But didn't like it as much as a steak.
No, well, I'm shocked.
That's the thing, I know. Nothing. Yeah, but other than that, we had a very relaxed time, and kind of the shepherd's cut was actually really, really just cozy. Really kind of nice, good bed, a bit small, but we were only really in there to drink wine and watch old Sherlock Holmes films on the TV player at night, so that was all right.
What do you need?
Exactly.
Sometimes just not being at home and not listening to the news and not being on the internet is reward enough, even if you were just sitting in a cupboard.
Well,
that
absolutely.
sounds perfect.
Yeah. No, there was there was an internet cafe sort of like on the site, but you had to like walk to get there. And it's kind of, I can't be bothered with that. I'm quite happy just to have my head in the sand for 2 days, what the rest of the world's doing. Take care of itself. That was really nice, but I highly recommend it.
Nice. Cool. Okay, well, there you go. Anything else, sir?
No, that'll do me for the week, I think.
Okie dokie. Well, then we shall move on to Mr. Barnard. How was your week, sir?
My week? It's been a week of healing this week.
Really?
Week of healing, yes. Because, as you will recall, I injured my leg.
Yes.
And after gaining the horse tablets and the tablets for the horse tablets last week, they've helped. The leg's getting better. And I went for some physio this week as well when I saw somebody. And, basically, it's on the mend. I thought I might have had arthritis, but no, apparently not. No, honestly, I really did think I had arthritis in the knee. I thought, oh fuck, they're gonna rip the piss out of me on the cast when I tell them this. This will be it.
No, we wouldn't have done that.
Yeah, no, of course you wouldn't. No,
we wouldn't have done. We wouldn't have done that. But I tell you what, I did think I could hear some crackling on the line, and clearly that's your joints.
I thought he was cooking bacon.
Yes.
I thought you were snapping twigs there, Darren. Are you working in the garden at the moment?
Yeah, it was like an ant walking into the house.
Oh, Darren's trying to stand up.
Yeah.
Oh, young one, we were here when the world was old.
What's that fucking name of that tree head? What's he called?
Treebeard.
Treebeard. That's it. That's me. Well, I've got a beard and I sound like a tree, so I am Treebeard.
There you go, Treebeard.
That's the name of my next album. I am Treebeard.
Treebeard the Barnard.
Hear me creak. Yeah.
You sound like a child sifting through a big box of Lego.
That's
it. Okay, yeah. So your ongoing decrepitude aside,
I'm on the mend. I'm on the mend, and it's nice to, because he said, like, you're doing all the right stuff. Just exercise. Just start walking. If you want to start running, you can do that again. It's like, well, I can get back to that at last. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done that in a while. Mm-hmm. So I shall be scanning out the running routes around here because I still haven't kind of figured out where is safe to run around this area.
You go to the places where it isn't safe to run because that encourages you to run.
At your age, nowhere is safe to run.
Yeah. Your garden's probably about as far as you really want to push it.
I ain't even got that. We've got a little bit of greenery outside the window here, but that's about it. So there we go.
Yeah, where's safe to run? As far as the kitchen. Thanks.
Thank you. Cheers.
No. Listen to the pedestrian crossings in America. Walk, don't run.
Yeah, especially at
It's
my
high
age.
impact for a man at your age. Don't do it.
Yeah, not so much the
My
Flash.
dad's
more the
generation
Frost.
are all the original joggers, and they're all fucked. Running is not good for you. The end. You should only run if you're being chased by a bear. That's what nature said.
Well,
That's
not
what we've
many bears
evolved to
around
do.
Darren's got bears around there, but it's not the same sort of bears.
No.
Not
No,
the
no,
Earth
not
sign
like
kind. Yeah, we're not into bear type bears. Never mind. Anyway, so Darren, carry on.
Moving on swiftly. So when we moved in here, we had to get ourselves like a temporary bed, just tied over until we got a proper one. So we bought an inflatable double bed from Argos, right? And it's been really good up until about 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah,
When the webcam broke.
When the webcam broke, yeah. So,
yeah.
what's happened is, what's worse? What's worse than having a puncher that you can see in your inflatable bed? What's worse than that?
One that sounds like it's farting constantly.
No.
One
Having
that flies you across the room like a fucking. One you filled up with helium.
Throws you across the room
should've
like
done,
Mika.
Only if we pull out the stop. But no, what's worse than having a leak, an air leak in your bed? A second one that you can't fucking well find, right? So it's like I've had to go in and inflate the beds every night, right? And I start off by going to sleep at around about 1.5 feet, and I wake up at around about 3 inches from the floor. So, and it's like being hugged by a fucking giant marshmallow. That's what I wake up as. So yeah. So I've had to purchase.
Have you ever fixed an inner tube on a bike?
Yeah, you just
Mate,
put it under the water.
I've not got a bath big enough to drop this in and see where the bubbles are coming out. Okay.
Have you got a his and hers pump?
No, it's all built in. It's a great. This has been a really
pump.
good bit. It's got a built-in air pump. You just plug it into the wall, turn it on, and it's. I'll tell you what, it's fully inflated in less than 5 minutes.
I bet your neighbours love you. Oh, they're going to bed again.
If I say I really couldn't give a shit whether they, then it'll give you some idea of how I feel in general about them. But anyway, so this has caused me to go ahead and purchase. It's forced our hand, and we've had to go and sort of like purchase a proper bed. Uh-huh. So because of this, I have now at 52 become an adult.
You've actually bought a bed.
I've bought a bed from DFS.
Oh my!
So there
God.
we go.
Was there a sale on?
I don't know. Well, actually, yes. This was a sale item. So,
of course it was.
yes. So there we go. I have achieved. I've got my little Xbox achievement.
You finally, at how old? 52.
At 52, I've become an adult.
You finally bought a bed.
I finally bought. I finally become an adult and bought a bed from DFS.
Ah, right. Okay.
So there we go. So we're just waiting for that to turn up. 7 weeks' time, that should get here. So
apparently, it's in a container down by Felixstowe.
I think so. Yeah.
You won't see it until 2025.
So if the bed is in the state it's in at the moment, the inflatable bed is going to be the equivalent of the orca from Jaws at the end of the film, right? It's going to be me clinging to literally the fucking pole that sticks out at the end of the ship. Right? I am Rob, whatever his name is, on the end with the gun. That's going to be me by the time the bed gets here.
I think you should just have it constantly on. That pump constantly on.
Yes, well, better than some of the noises that I hear around here sometimes. But less said about that, the better.
Okay.
But anyway, moving on. So this week I did watch a couple of things. I watched Free Guy.
Oh yes, what did you think of it?
I thought it was okay. There's some good humour in it. Wasn't like the most deepest movie that I've ever seen.
No.
Shall we say? But I did have a giggle at some of the references in it. I did like
What the shit?
Yeah. And I did like the man running against the wall constantly.
Oh, yeah.
I thought, that's been me falling asleep at the Xbox with the controller in my hand, waking up and finding me character just running against a brick wall somewhere.
Nice.
So there was that. So it wasn't bad at all. I thought, I enjoyed it. Got out of it what I did, which was good comedy. Yes, if you want some time to waste, have a watch, and that's free on Disney Plus now.
Oh, it's actually free on Disney Plus now.
It's free on Disney Plus
because it was available on DVD, and they had it on sale on Disney Plus for a while.
Yeah, it's free on Disney Plus. That was it. I think it was like you could buy it on Disney Plus for like 5 minutes, and then they automatically went, no, just let them have it.
It's made its money.
Yeah, there we go. It's got back the cash that we wanted. There you are.
But it was Disney corporate synergy by the end of it, though, wasn't it?
It was. But I did like, and I'm not going to spoil it for anybody, but the cameo.
Yes.
In it. The what the shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what the fuck. Yeah, that.
Oh, what the fuck?
So that was good.
Yeah.
I did like that. So there was that. But getting on to the jewel of this week, and I have already burned through season 1.
Go on.
It is my new favourite thing, and I already started. I did at least one episode of season 2 just before the cast started, and that is the Orville. I fucking love that show.
Isn't it great?
It is the best Star Trek show that's not a Star Trek show.
Well,
it really is.
It's just best Star Trek show of the last 20 years, I reckon.
I would have to say so. It was like watching season 8 of The Next Generation. The camera angles are there. The little opening shots of each episode are exactly like an episode of The Next Generation. But it's not Star Trek, as in it's not in the Star Trek universe. I love all the characters in it.
Yep.
I think they're all great. There's some nice little cameos in there as well. And I noticed your mate was in it as well.
Which one?
Rob Lowe.
Oh, God, yeah.
Rob Lowe turns up in it a couple of times.
Look, just because I airbrushed a man's testicles out one Sunday doesn't mean we swap numbers.
Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I love the messages that it kind of puts across. Even when it gets sort of like so blatantly obvious what it's trying to have a poke at, of course, like the one where they go to the planet where there's no law system, but everybody has a badge with up or down votes.
Oh, yeah.
On it. That fucking brilliant episode. I love that. In fact, I just love every single episode I watched. There's always something in it. And really, really good show. Funny. I'm looking forward to this. Yeah, I know there's an evolution for the show. It goes from being sort of like trying to be a comedy in space to getting a little bit more. Yeah,
it does. It moves more towards sort of like they drop the sort of toilet. Well, I say that, but they've still got it, but they drop it a lot more. And then by the end they have their they've gone into proper old school Star Trek sort of proper old school. Oh, hang on. We're about to have a cliffhanger or something, aren't we? Oh, no.
Yeah,
sort of moments. Yeah.
So it's a pity I can only get hold of 2 seasons.
Well, the 3rd season's out yet.
It's not?
No, I thought that was still waiting to be released.
Oh, yeah. I did I did read a thing about that. Apparently,
because I think
there was a reason for the delay, and it wasn't what everybody thought.
No.
Apparently, Seth MacFarlane wanted to leave. That's it.
Right.
He wanted out.
Oh,
which apparently, because everybody thought it was the studio just wanting to cancel it, and it's not. He wanted to go because he's got like about 6 or 7 other projects that he's waiting to go for.
Yeah, well, the trailer for season 3 dropped like back in September, so yeah, it's on its way. But yeah,
good.
He'll be there. It's good. I done like that.
Yeah, same here. As I say, I just love the writing in the show. It's good. Yeah. Come on, hey Lara, was it Lara? Want to open this jar of pickles for me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, no, it's good. It's good, mate. It does get better and it does improve. I like it a lot. And
same here.
Certainly more than fucking Lower Decks, but you know, there you go. If you want to have Star Trek and comedy together, don't bother. That's not really my thing.
No,
but
the Orville's where it's at. It's, yeah.
There you go. Okay,
love it.
Anyway, anything else, sir?
No.
Cool.
Just about it.
Cool. Well, unfortunately, I've got nothing to share, or maybe fortunately, depending on the runtime. I haven't even looked at how long we've been doing. No, I mean, I think the closest I get to sharing anything is basically saying I started playing Assassin's Creed Syndicate just because it was on sale.
Oh,
so,
right, okay. And
so
how'd you find that?
Yeah, I like it. I liked it when I was playing it on the Xbox, but I'd never ever finished it. But now I'm into, God blimey, love a duck, strike a light, you come over here and I'll stab you, kind of geezer. Hey, ooh, that's about...
I'm an assassin, aren't I?
Oi! Yeah. Oh, look, it's Karl Marx, so it is. Oh, look, it's Charles Darwin. They all happen to be in the same place at the same time. Who'd have thunk it?
Do you get the temptation of every time you off somebody by going stab?
Oi, yeah. Actually, what I find and this is, I don't think anyone in the family has complained about it yet, but I'm sure that they're thinking it. Which is, whenever I start playing it, the little characters that you see wandering about, some of the rival gang, whenever they see you, they go, if you have to come over there, I'm going to bleed you dry, and all this kind of thing. They throw out like loads of little threats, and before they even get halfway through, I've stabbed them in the head. and then I always make some kind of like really naff sort of Arnie style sort of like put down to them. I'm just like going nuts. I'm sitting there like they go, oh, I'm gonna put you down, and I go, well, I'm going to fuck you up, stab. And I'm sitting there throwing, ha, 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 ha. And everyone's like bored and looking on their phones, reading, going off and doing something else. And I'm sitting there looking at myself, looking around going, see what I did there? And I haven't, it's just like I'm clearly going fucking nuts. The only other thing, and I'm sure I've mentioned this before, the only other thing I seem to be doing more and more is I'm now making an actual appointment to watch fucking Bob Ross episodes on BBC 4.
You're making an appointment?
Yeah, I'm literally 7:30 comes around Monday to Thursday, and I will stop what I'm doing, switch over to BBC 4, and I will watch Bob Ross paint yet another fucking seascape, or Happy Little Clouds, as Carol said, and I will just sit there, and it's my 30 minutes of chill out. I don't care what's on some fucking documentary about him being fucked over by his managers or anything. I'm going to sit there and watch a grown-ass man paint a tree and just tell me about how every accident's a happy accident and it's my world and I live in it. I am down with that shit. I want nothing to do with the real world anymore. I want to live in Victorian London and watch an old man paint. That's my week.
Can I help you out on that?
Go on.
Hang on, what am I on? On Twitch, there's a 2-day stream of Bob Ross.
Oh, man, I'd never even move. I'd just become hypnotised.
Yeah.
I keep hoping that there's going to be like a season ender where he does like a 3-hour sort of proper paint along or something, and then I get sad because he is no longer with us, and I'm like, he's my aunt granddad. He's my art granddad. I want to go and meet him, and he can talk to me about squirrels and painting trees in my happy little world. But so it's not to be. So yeah, maybe when I get to his age, because I can't be far off it now. Maybe that's what I'll do on YouTube. I'll just buy like a 20,000 quid's worth of canvases and watercolors and just sit there and fuck about. Oh, acrylics, isn't it? Phthalo blue and tungsten white. I just love it. Seriously, I've long gone past the point of shame now. I'm just like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to put this on, and the old blue screen shit comes up, and I'm like, love it. Bring it on.
There's no shame in that at all. I know my son watched a little bit of it, because I was like, you know Bob Ross? He went, yeah. I've watched some of his videos when I want to chill out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's properly good.
Oh, no, we're a big fan of Bob in this house. It is just proper. Especially when we first got the dog, we need some like very calming television.
Yeah.
To get used to TV.
Yeah.
And we sort of got hooked. We got, let's watch Bob paint something, and it's just kind of, it's just like the telly equivalent of a big hot chocolate.
That's right. Yeah. As soon as if he's painting a mountain, I know he's going to get a palette knife, and I know he's going to roll it thin, and I know he's going to scrape off a bit at the end so he can make the white snow caps on one side.
And you know you'll never be able to do that.
Yep, I know I'll never be able
to. No matter how easy he makes it look.
No matter how many times he does those little brushy reflections, there is literally fuck all chance of me getting even remotely close, even with Photoshop, 75 filters, and 17 years of experience. I just know.
How many times have you watched it and he's gone, we just need something here. And he gets halfway through, you're like, oh, you fucked it up. This is the moment, isn't it? Where he actually fucks it up and starts smashing the shit up. And then 5 minutes later, he's like, oh shit, that's like a real life tree. That looks amazing.
Well, funny enough, as of the recording, he was doing a rolling seascape this evening, and he did like a crashing wave, and he put like sandy yellow into the wave, and I thought, that's it, Bob. I've cracked it. I've caught you done fucked up, and you're gonna sit there and try and cover it up with like 20 tons of different coloured paints. But he didn't. Little bastard. He put a bit of white foam on the top, painted over it in a slight aqua blue with a thin ink, and it's just like, holy shit. Bob, you're like Art Thanos. You just click your fingers and shit happens, and I'm just like, wow, okay. I think he didn't die. I think he just sublimed off to another universe. Anyway, so that's been my week, and now that we've also given Martin Thompson all the ammo he needs for his Black Dog Out of Context posts on the Facebook group. I think we got plenty there. We got camps, we got gypsy huts, we got a fish the size of a small moon. We got Darren with arthritis and me watching Bob Ross. There's the pictures coming. If you don't know what we're talking about, go on the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/the Black Dog Podcast. Anyway, right, let's move on to feedback. Now, the reason I'm kind of rushing on to feedback this quickly is because I got a message over the weekends from Odile Thomas, who literally said, I've written a bit of feedback. It might be a bit rambly or something along those lines. I won't mention her message verbatim. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I tell you what, I'm not going to read it until the day of the recording so we can react to it. But she said she had some points about our film that we watched last week, which was Brightburn, and some of the comments that we brought up. So I'm now clicking on the Facebook group and clicking on the episode link, and I'm looking at the replies now. Oh my God. Okay. Well, buckle up, everyone. So here's the one piece of feedback. So this is from Odile Thomas, and this is what she has to say. And again, pardon me if I stumble over the words, because I am reading this literally for the first time. And she writes, "Hi guys, thank you for a great podcast once again." Well, that's a good strong opener. I like that. However, I have to say I disagreed with quite a few things that you said, getting me to just look like a demented driver on the motorway. Okay, fair enough. So here's my thoughts. I agree. The chicken, just like the putting his hand in the mower, was to test his abilities. Okay, yeah, the boy, the superhero kid, was killing the chickens to test his abilities. But I disagree with the way that you saw the other, let's say, aggressive actions. I don't think he did those as a way to test his newfound abilities. I think they were, for most of them, emotional reactions, and the brutality of them increased with how betrayed he felt at the time. These are my thoughts in the order they took place in the film. The girl and the hand, because he breaks the girl's hand, doesn't he? Mm-hmm. She had just let him fall to the ground. This will not have hurt him physically, though. But what did hurt him was her refusal to help him up and calling him a pervert. He felt betrayed and punished her. Okay. Number 2, her mum. The girl had just told him that she had forbidden her to speak to see him. He said he would take care of it. Once again, he went in a punishment rampage as a reaction of him being denied what he wanted. The fact that later on we see her gutted on the barn wall is him studying human anatomy, as though a throwback to the pictures his parents had found in his room. Good point. I didn't realise that, because there was all those anatomy things underneath his bed, wasn't there?
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that, but yeah, that's right. The mother was splayed out in exactly that way. Anyway, number 3, the aunt and ultimately the uncle. I think the aunt had a lucky escape, in inverted commas. He was getting ready to punish her, as she had made it clear to him that she would be reporting negatively on him to the sheriff in the following morning, something he would see as a betrayal, or once again him not getting his way. However, her punishment was cut short by the uncle arriving. At that point, it was interesting to see that Brandon did not have a go at him, as the uncle had not done anything directly to him, which would have been perceived as a betrayal. However, as soon as the uncle tells him that he will tell the parents about what he has done, the exact opposite of what Brandon asked him not to do, then he had to be punished. And again, as Brandon felt betrayed, he went on for a punishment death rather than a fast one. The father's death. The dad betrayed him by trying to shoot him. He could have made a death fast, but what kind of punishment would that be? Sheriff number 1. He had a quick death, no emotion linked to him. He was just in the way and to continue in torturing his mother, who was at that point Brandon thought had gone with his dad's plan and therefore needed to be punished. Number 5, Sheriff number 2. Not so quick death, but again, no real emotion, just another tool to punish Mum. And finally, number 6, number 6, Mum. Until then, she had been on his side, wanting to believe there was good in him. And I chose to believe that at that very moment, Brandon was still confused and conflicted about who or what he was. However, when she tried to kill him, the utter shock of her betrayal is clear to see on his face. I also think the way he kills her is very symbolic. He takes her up into the sky to the limit of the atmosphere of the planet. So in other words, to limit what makes him a being of planet Earth. And then he lets her go, and at the same time, in the moment, he lets go of his remaining shred of humanity. The plane, this is the final victim, that's him having a tantrum, an immediate reaction to his state, and here he is here to take over the world, and that's a good place to start. There are many more things I would say, but I think this is already a long and rambling feedback, so I'll stop here, she says. And then goes, me again? My second disagreement is linked to the ship/sleeper agent idea you discussed. The way I see it is that, yes, he was sent to take over the world, but he had no pre-uploaded training. Upon reaching puberty, in other words, so many years after being dispatched to Earth, the ship does what it was programmed to do, to activate his powers and give him a mission to take over the world. That's it. The rest is all about nature versus nurture. You wish to interject, Mr. Barnard?
I wish to disagree.
Okay, that's fair enough. Well,
sorry, his personality change is too much of a right turn. It really is. It's like slamming on the brakes at 60.
Yeah.
The whole his point of view about him being better than everyone else came after the ship did its thing. The whole creepy behavior started happening, and this isn't the punishment thing. This is what leads to the punishment. The creepy behavior in the bedroom with the girl. All this kind of stuff happens when the ship does its thing to him. That's not him as he was beforehand. He wasn't anything like that. He was just a good kid.
Yeah, though I will say, the one thing I will say now, after reading this, and there's still a little bit to go, but the one thing I will say is that he did pay attention, or she paid attention to him, the girl.
Yeah.
She paid attention to him once he had done the thing about the wasps, and he started to take notice of her. And then there was the conversation with the dad saying, you know, things are changing in you, you're going to change, you're going to feel things. Sometimes you act upon them and sometimes you don't. And
but that conversation came after the ship had done its thing.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So that was just him doing that. You know, the thing that Data does in Star Trek, when somebody makes a suggestion, he takes it a literal way and doesn't actually see. It's that.
Okay, well, we won't cause Odile to go into the Central Reservation just yet. Let's just
sorry, Odile,
because
I'm not paying your car insurance. Right?
yeah. She's probably halfway down the motorway now, going, "What the fuck?" Or shall I say, "Zutalaws" or whatever? I don't know.
I think she's on the way down here. She's on her way to Surrey right now. This is it. She's in the car. pipe on the pipe and a hammer on the side there, you know. That'll be it.
Anyway, so she continues. The rest is all about nature versus nurture. You talked a lot about him being programmed to lie. Kids lie a lot. I can vouch for it. I see it weekly. I'm being kind here in my job. And in fact, he was not good at lying. Think of his dad's reaction. If he had been programmed, he would have been more convincing. The fact that he says to his parents, "I feel you want me to cry," when they discuss the uncle's death is another argument for the fight between nature, his alien self, and nurture, his human self. Okay, that's it. I promise I won't post another post on this. There you go. Well, firstly, thank you, Odile. Thank you for that nice feedback. It's good to have discussion points.
It is, yeah.
I mean, to be quite honest, the programming of the spaceship does seem to be quite explicit because of the way it's presented, with the spaceship going whoa, 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 and you suddenly see the kid kind of go in the bed, and it's kind of very obvious that the bed's the ship's controlling him, or at least uploading a hell of a lot. But I think you're right in the way that he's overreacting, and that's triggering something because of just kids, hormones, teenagers, that kind of thing. I mean, does anybody else have any thoughts on this? Because I don't want to just... Anyone? Hello? Bueller, is this thing on? Or are we all a little worried that Odile is on her way right now with a pipe?
She came for me, she'll come for you.
And that's next. The thing about Brandon not being very good at lying, again, it still does imply that there's a certain amount of programming behind the computer, behind his actions, because it's telling him to lie. Doesn't mean to say he's any good at it, you know. And we're both coming at it from, I suppose, Odile's coming at it. I'm speaking for her, but I don't know, but I suspect that she's coming from it, you know, that it's the child that's doing this stuff, whereas we were coming at it insofar as it's the ship, and not so much the child. Once I think back in the podcast, because I have to have a little listen back on it, but I think we were more kind of implying that he had become a blank slate being controlled by the ship at that point. I mean, I'd have to double check.
I seem to remember what I said. I did say there's a lot, I think, in this film about kind of, it's not just an inversion of Superman. It's kind of, what's the reality of giving a kid going through puberty superpowers?
Yeah.
And they're going to just lash out in
various ways.
in very various ways to suddenly have that effectively the power of the worst dictator and then some.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that. There's definitely, I definitely see there's that kind of. So that tantrum and petulance, especially when you realise he has the power, and that's when you start getting the superiority, the attitude. You start seeing the attitude.
Yeah.
But you don't know how he seems like he was always fine, but we just take that as read. I mean, you don't really know. I mean,
that's true.
His parents probably think, oh, he's a good kid. He's just being a kid, a bit weird.
Yeah. I mean, to be quite honest, the only other thing I was going to say is, now I'm thinking back on it, is I think maybe a lot of what we were saying and what I was saying as well was more based around the fact that I think the film's got quite a compressed runtime on that sort of stuff. So as you say, Jim, just speaking now, it's like 1 minute the kid's really, really good, butter wouldn't melt in his mouth. Next minute he's a flying psycho, and it's just like. And it's like, well, hang on. That feels like quite, as you say, Darren, it's like the 90-degree right turn at a 60 mile an hour. It's kind of like, hang on.
Yeah.
But I think that's partly constrained by, a part of that is not a gradual change because of the runtime. If it had been like a Stranger Things style sort of 6-episode thing on Netflix, I suspect that change would have been more gradual.
Yeah. Yeah, instead we got
possible.
a Daenerys Targaryen style, flip the switch.
Flip-flop.
Yes, look what she's doing with that dragon. Where
Okay.
did that come from?
I don't know, I haven't seen it.
No, you haven't.
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
But, okay then. Well, I would address those points a little bit more, Odile, but I have to confess that it's been a week. It's been a week, and I've forgotten half of the shit we've said. But what I'll do is I'll have a listen back to the podcast, and I'll see if I can address some other points there, because I think you brought up some interesting bits about the child lashing out and punishing, and just like Jim said there, it's like give a kid superpowers. I suppose it also comes down to that sort of thing, like if you had a baby. There was a Kryptonian baby, Ma and Pa Kent, watching a kid basically uncontrollably piss so hard that it basically fires through the ceiling. It's little things like that. Nappies being blasted off at 100,000 miles an hour. But, okay. Well, I'll have a little listen back and see if there's any other points I can raise up to discuss, and we'll maybe bring that back next week. But thank you very much, Odile. Much appreciated, and hopefully our responses haven't caused you to immediately U-turn down the motorway coming back to us with a fucking poleaxe to come and get us. But yes, we'll speak to you soon, no doubt. And yes, if anybody else would like to send any feedback in, then by all means do so. Send it in to feedback@blackdogpodcast.com. Go onto the Facebook page, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast. Or you can just go onto the Black Dog Podcast webpage for the podcast, which is just blackdogpodcast.com, and hit contact us button, and it'll send an email that way. Right, well, we'll leave it there. We shall wrap this section up, and then we shall move on to this week's movie, my choice of the Indeterminate Weeks of Horror, the Empty Man. So, roll the jingle.
So many nudie ladies.
Watch them dance over the roulette wheel. James
There's
Bond.
up ladies.
There's a mask. Keep eyes and listen up. Can you see my
strippers?
Okay. I was just going to say, I actually saw a bloody episode of this Tales from the Unexpected on Sunday. I did. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I was trying very hard not to go, "Oh, naughty ladies," while watching it. It's very strange, kind of weird Pavlov's dog reaction. Anyway, so this week's movie is The Empty Man, which is a 2020 American supernatural horror thriller film written and directed and edited by David Pryor, based on Cullen Bunn and Vanessa R. Del Rey's graphic novel of the same name, published by Boom Studios. The film stars James Badge Dale, Marin Ireland, Stephen Root, Ron Canada, Robert Amao, and Joel Courtney and Sasha Frivola. It follows an ex-cop who, upon investigation into a missing girl, discovers a secret cult. That's all it said. The original was originally filmed in 2017. The film wasn't released until October 23rd, 2020. And this is still considered by Pryor himself to be a rough edit. I won't say anything else beyond the fact that there is a reference in multiple references within the Wikipedia to, since release, this film is slowly gaining a cult following. The budget was $16 million. How much do you think it made at the box office, Elton?
One stuffed teddy.
One stuffed teddy, huh? Very good. And Jim, what do you think it made at the box office?
One discarded empty bottle on a bridge.
And
Do that again?
And what about you, Dal?
I think it made enough to buy a fourth leg for the three-legged dog that is America.
Nice. So, yes, we will go around the table, quickly just sum up what we thought about it before we get into any discussions, if any are needed. And I will go last because it was my pick. So we'll start with you, Jim, as you've seen it first.
Yes, this is one of those movies that I was with it up to a certain point. And I thought, all right, you've got to the end now. Are you continuing? Another 20 minutes? Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, right. And he didn't really recover from there then?
Basically not. I mean, there's so much I did actually like in it, but it just turns into fudge.
Okay. Well, in which case, we'll move on to Elton. What did you think, sir?
I watched this twice.
Blimey. Okay.
And I needed to watch this twice.
Right.
First time I came away going, oh, this is not going to be very good, is it? This, not that I wasn't paying attention, but it wasn't really holding me. I was feeling that it was waffling on a bit too much just for the sake of it. But the second time round, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah?
Really, really enjoyed it, yes. Okay. I got a lot more from it on the second viewing. And bearing in mind, I think I watched it on the Saturday night. No, Sunday night, and then today. So quite close together, but I got a lot more from it on the second time round. And I really enjoyed it.
Interesting. Okay, maybe this podcast is going to be longer than 50 minutes then. So, okay, cool. What about you, Dal?
Again, like Elton, I had to watch it twice.
Yes, because you fell asleep.
Yeah, I did. I watched it again. It's because of like work and stuff like that.
That's right.
Because I can't actually watch a film like this when certain members of the household are around. I sat there trying to stay awake through it the first time. So I basically saw two different movies. When I watched it the second time today, like going to and from work on the train, then of course I kind of understood it a lot better than I did the first time. Because when I saw it, I didn't get context for the end the first time because I saw that. It's like, oh, so it was that, was it, all along? And then, of course, watching it, I understood a lot more what was going on. And that's when I thought, so the three-legged dog was America then. So there you go. All along, the three-legged dog was America.
Okay. So you're not terribly impressed with it, is what you're saying?
It was okay, you know. I thought it was better on a second viewing. But it does. I mean, I'm all for building tension, and I'm all for, like, you know, not rushing the audience. But sometimes it's okay to just put a little bit of extra pressure on the acceleration pedal. You know, just is, because sometimes, you know, taking your time can be a little bit annoying.
Okie dokie. Right. Well, then, I mean, for me, see, the problem was I came at this from a completely wrong angle. When I first heard about this film, I heard it on like I have two like three YouTube video reviewers.
Yeah.
Actually 4 now. Now I've got screened, but and one covers like screenplays, one covers like just standard genre fare, and then another one's just like general film reviews. And then the other one's Red Letter Media, but that's more for humour than anything else. And all of them had mentioned The Empty Man in some fashion, and they've been either more or less positive on it. So it got me curious, and then Screened, which covers like screenplays, does a thing where they do a sum up of a particular sort of subgenre. So they talk about cosmic horror, for example. And this came up in that as well. And not just as a positive or a negative, they just mentioned it. And I thought, well, hang on, this has appeared on my radar a few times, so I'll check it out. And then never got round to it. I had a copy of it and then never got round to watching it. And then it turned up on Disney. I'm thinking, I'm going to watch this. No, I'm going to hang on to it for Black Dog. And I watched it, and the problem I have that weird thing now, which I'm getting more and more, where I watch a film and go, well, that's cobblers. Absolute cobblers. And then the more I sit there afterwards and think about it, the more I think, maybe I should have watched this again, or maybe I'm not watching it with the right attitude, or maybe I've been built up. But the problem I have with this is it's all really good ideas, and it's all really nicely presented, and it all has a nice sense of mystery, and it's quite close to what I in my mind think would be a good Lovecraftian style sort of detective delving into things which are going to drive him mad kind of thing. But
and it's a big but.
And it is a big but it takes way too long to get to it. The first half is a lot stronger than the second. And once the mystery starts to become clear, you're like 10,000 steps in front of the main characters. And also the final reveal, which we won't get into just yet, but I'll go spoilers. So if you still want to watch this, go watch it, but spoilers from here on in. Reminds me too much of things which I've seen which are done a lot better, like films like Angel Heart.
Well, the thing is, this is, I mean, warning for anyone who's good at guessing spoilers, but this is the standard 101 investigating a cult cliched end. It was all a dream of investigating occult stories, this end. Basically, it's like, and I twigged it quite early on. And I did think, if that's all it's going to be, I'm going to be a bit annoyed. And it was.
Yeah. But the thing is, I like detectives trying to work out shit like this. I mean, another film what it reminded me of was Kill List.
Yes.
Remember we did that? So it was very Kill List. It had moments of Angel Heart, especially the end twist, which again was one of those twists where as soon as you put 2 seconds of thought into it, you go, oh, of course. and I'm not going to say it in case one of us hasn't seen Angel Heart. Have anyone seen Angel Heart?
Yes, yeah.
Elton, have you seen it?
I haven't, but it's okay.
No, I don't want to spoil it because it is actually a good film, and I'd quite like to revisit it if it ever appears on streaming. But that whole thing of you see a twist coming from a mile off. It's almost like the James Bond thing from No Time to Die. You see a twist, and it's coming down the tracks at you from so far away. You think, well, surely they're going to sort this out, or surely someone's going to detect this because they're a detective. And it's just like, nah, we're coming. The twist is coming into land, and the guy standing on the runway hasn't got out of the way. So I kind of kept willing myself to want to like it. And I kind of really wanted to know more about the world, and I really wanted to know more about the thing involved. And I do like those kind of creeping curse movies, like Grudge, Ring, what's the other one? There's another one in Dark Water. Any of those kind of sort of Asian horror ghost films where there's like you've triggered something, and now the film is essentially a countdown.
Yes, like cascading down to the climax.
That kind of shit really floats my boat because that's kind of got that grim inevitability thing about it, which I think I like in kind of ghost stories. The Whistle and I Come to You thing of like it's getting closer, it's not getting away. It Follows does another one like that as well. So, I love all that kind of stuff. That really creeps me out. So this was right in my wheelhouse, but it just didn't. It just was too fudgy at the end, as you say, Jim. It just dragged itself out.
It gets to a point you think, why are you continuing? You're doing this for the harder thinking. But when later you're remark from the director going, well, that's actually a rough print. You go, yeah. Scissors, motherfucker. You heard of him?
But that's the thing, isn't it? It does feel a bit rough drafty when you think about it, because there are lots of things where you go, yeah, you could have trimmed that.
Well, that opening prologue lasts for ages.
Yeah, okay, well, let's go through it. I mean, how did everyone feel about that? The opening prologue, because that felt like from a completely different movie.
It does link, but it is just kind of, you really have to pay attention to spot the connective tissue. I like kind of having, a mysterious prologue that you understand later. I do like that. But that one was fucking long. It was like, have you forgot to put the titles on?
Also had one of the creepiest bits in the film, I thought. As well.
It was very good, but it is kind of... It's one of my main problems with films. There's great bits in it, but they just don't... They're not connected together in like a satisfying way where the plot domino should fall. So click, 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 and you see this pattern and really go, oh! It doesn't quite... There's lots of bits where there's bits missing. Or there's bits where it peters out. And you go, oh...
Yeah, what bit was creeping you out then, Dal?
It's the bit where the woman goes outside the hut and she sees the shadow in the distance. She takes a step back, it takes a step forwards, so it does it again, and then the way it flies at her.
Yeah, with that sort of that thump, 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 thump.
Yeah. And me and Ree were both sitting there watching it, and the heckles are going right up at the back of the head. Yeah. So there were bits and bobs like that throughout the film.
Yeah, I mean, what about you, Elton? I mean, given your propensity for roast potatoes and whatnot, I mean, you're not the world's greatest horror fan at the best of times, but I mean, how did this strike you with that sort of thing?
It had its creepy moments. The best way I can describe it had creepy tones to it, which were used very well, and I wish that they had landed a little better because I think they're brilliant. Let's just go with blowing the bottle. It's an amazing little thing that we've all done. We've all sat round and we've done it in pubs, we've done it with friends, and it just happens. And you could have had something here from this film where if someone does it at a dinner party later on, just not knowing, everyone else looks at each other, goes, oh shit. But I don't think you're going to get that kind of transmitting into the audience and actually doing it. It just didn't have the weight that would be behind it.
Yeah, didn't have that Candyman thing of look in the mirror or Bloody Mary, did it? It was kind of a bit too...
Well, yeah.
Well, the plot took a different turn, and this idea of this urban legend of where you can accidentally trigger this sort of terrible curse got kind of backseated. And that was an interesting development, but it's kind of, no, that kind of creepy urban legend, sort of modern day folklore stuff, that really gets to people. And it was a shame you sort of move past that. It feels kind of a bit like first film syndrome, where people got tons of ideas, so they throw them all in, and you actually need someone to say, no, actually, that's one movie there, we'll put that there. This is another movie here, put that one there. That's a pile of bollocks, put that there, and that's what the scissors are for. You know?
Yeah.
And it's a shame, because I think that scene on the bridge where he blows the bottle and you go, oh my God, that's it. He's accidentally done the ritual. Is that kind of, you think, oh Christ, is anything going to happen? What are you going to see? And it's just kind of, it toys with you. That's really effective. And as I say, as Elton says, if that was more central in the film, that would become a thing, like Candyman has. Even people who haven't seen Candyman, don't say Candyman into the mirror 3 times. It is kind of, that has become like a folklore in itself, even though it's like fake lore. It comes from a Clive Barker story, but it's seeped out there like a meme. And The Empty Man could have been a great fucking meme like that.
Yeah, again, it could have been like the Slender Man or the Bye Bye Man or any of those sort of things. And that's I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? You kind of, it's neither fish nor fowl. It's neither a kind of like obsessive cult movie or a monster curse pursuing the hero movie.
Yeah, I think I'm worried now because you guys explaining it and the way that you viewed it as you saw it all coming, you saw all these little dominoes falling together and you'd worked it out 20 minutes from the end. But the final reveal, which I won't mention just yet because I think we're going to be saving it, but the final review, it only happened to me and I really had to listen to what was being said to kind of really dig deep and work it out. And even now, I'm still sat here going, I think this is it. Well, Am I right?
I tell you what.
For me, for my thing, I guessed what the end was probably what did turn out to be. I thought it was suddenly wasn't flagged as a possibility. I won't say, I knew, but it was definitely kind of, hang on, was just with the word tulpa. Because I know what a tulpa is. In fact, I can see a book on my shelf now, which will tell you how to make one.
Now I'm worried.
Mysticism. Because it's a real occult thing. I know, you know what I mean? And once you said that, I thought, yeah, I bet he's the empty man. And he's actually been made, you know what I mean? He's not real. And but I put that together, but I know I'm familiar with that word. But for me, it was kind of, you get to a point in the film, 20 at the end, where they're basically in the hospital where she tells him what he is. And then the film just carries on. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you've shown your hand now. It's kind of.
Okay. I mean, what about you then, Dal? I mean, let's not try and make this isn't a try and make Elton feel bad. But when did you twig it?
When I woke up and it got to the bit where everybody started praying to him, and it was like, oh,
that's 2 minutes from the end.
Yeah, exactly. Because I fell asleep the first time, so it was kind of, that was taken away.
I could have twigged it from that.
Could you though, Elton? Could you?
Probably not.
Well, I never, Holmes. This is incredible. Your deductive reasonings know no bounds.
Yeah. As Meme Thor would say, would you though?
You did the video version of just turning to the last page, didn't you?
Yeah, I couldn't help it. It just, it was it. I fell asleep. I was knackered.
Okay.
So
okay.
it's a lot, It's a lot of energy to listen, to concentrate at that time of night as well.
Did you do that during Titanic and go, "Where's the boat gone?"
Yeah. Why are they all sitting on a fucking door? They were on a boat 5 minutes ago.
No, I had
was
Titanic.
a budget cut.
I had the Titanic sport for me while I, way back in school. It was just a terrible, really.
When it came through on the wire.
Yeah, there we go. Cheeky bastard. We had radio waves and everything, when I was little. We did. Not just fucking Morse code. Cheeky fucker.
Okay.
When it came through on,
when it came through
on the wire.
When it came through on Telegram.
Yeah.
When I saw the flare from a distance.
Yeah, my childhood was the fucking Flintstones. When it came through on a stone tablet, fucking pecked out by a woodpecker.
Yeah,
Dad lifted the crow off the radio, off the record.
When the bright red toucan started banging it out on the bongos. Yeah, okay, you're right.
How'd you like your Bronto burgers?
I mean, I was going to say with me, the twigging it, I think, was the first time he. I think I saw it. I think I saw it coming when he meets that sassy kid in the cult, and he goes, "Oh, there's a guy he transmits." No, when he meets the cult leader says, "Have I seen you before somewhere?"
Yeah.
And I just thought, as soon as he said that, I thought, hang on. So either he's lost his memory or something else is going on. And at that point, I was a bit sus. I mean, let's go from here on in. Spoilers, ladies and gentlemen. Because there's no way to talk about it without them. But I mean, the problem I have is you don't. People say things like, "Oh, I figured it out 5 minutes from the start," and all this kind of thing. And it's not to denigrate anyone else watching it or make people feel stupid. That's not the aim. I think it's just saying that people who've seen lots of a particular type of film will be on high alert for watching certain tropes. It's like when you see a sports film, you know that about midway through, the sportsman is going to suffer either a tragedy, personal or physical.
Yep.
And probably have some kind of major issue that the only way they can overcome is by winning a match or winning a thing. The competition or beating a rival. Yep. And then you know that once you've seen the rival and you know that there's down to the final lap, the last 10 seconds in a round, the last ball in a baseball match, that's going to be the win, but it's going to be done in slow motion, very, very slow, and trying to build up the tension while, someone like Hans Zimmer brings the strings in at the end.
Or what we'll call it from now on, we'll call it the crane kick. That's what we'll call it. Okay, that's it. What is the crane kick in this movie? Yeah,
that's a bloody good point. Or the what was it? Or the Rocky 2 double flooring.
There we go. We got the double flooring and the crane kick.
The double flooring where they both go over, and it's like, who's going to get up? Well, let me think. But we're going to watch it for the next 5 minutes, very, very slow motion.
Or there's the who shot who thing where they both stood there looking at each other in the eye close up. A gun's gone off. They were both holding a gun, fighting over it, and they both suddenly look up in shock at one another. It's like, which one's going to drop dead?
Yeah, I wonder. So don't feel bad about it, Elton. I'll be honest with you. It's just more the fact that, well, obviously we've seen more horror films than you have.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I've listened to quite a few podcasts where Tulpa has been mentioned, and the way that people explain stuff as well. And I was like, okay, I recognise that word. I don't know if I'm stupid or anything like that. I didn't read it as Tulpa. I read it as Tupla. And I was like, what? And I spent 10 minutes trying to work out, what did I read? I read? I was determined not to go on the internet and try and find out what was going on.
And that's fair if you've heard a word and seen it written down. I mean, he's kind of, that gets us all. I mean, when I was growing up, I thought there was a make of car called Peugeot, not Persia. But you know.
I had that
And
with
Terry
the name
Pratchett
Sean.
has a story. Well, Terry Pratchett has a story. I thought it was a kind of goes called a pahantum, until he realised it phantom was the same word, just the way it's written. Especially for, I mean, you know, tulpa's a Tibetan word, for Christ's sake. It's not a common area of pronunciation.
Yeah. I always remember between you and me, Dal, I can't remember which one of us had the problem first, but when we used to read those fighting fantasy books, and we used to say it was a charter sheet.
Oh, yeah. It's the chart. Yeah, because, you know, we had to charter a boat
Yeah.
with the sheet. There we
With
go.
the sheet. It's not a character sheet, it's a charter sheet.
It's a charter sheet. But like I said, I had this with the name Sean, right?
Yeah.
Spelled Sean.
Scene,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because was it? I was reading the mad parody of one of was it Sean Connery's films, and they've got this big. They've got like his boss M going out, is seen there. It's like, who the fuck is seen? Who the fuck is that?
Yeah. He's seen but not heard.
Seen but not heard. Yes.
But cool. I mean, yeah. So anyway, to get back to it, Elton, don't
Scene
feel
cannery.
bad.
There we go. That's the wish. That's the wish version of James Bond. Scene cannery.
Scene cannery. Yeah, he works in a bean. He works in a bean cannery normally. Yeah.
No, that's Scene Bean you're thinking about.
Oh, scene bean.
Scene bean.
or Sean Bourne.
Yeah. Sean Bourne.
Scene bean.
Scene bean. It's true though, isn't it?
Yeah. Scene bean. I love
Scene
that.
bean.
It's scene bean.
Scene bean. He never lasts to the end. Ever.
Aye.
Do it for Yorkshire. Anyway, right.
I don't feel bad about not kind of twigging onto it.
No.
And yeah, it was the second time round where I was, okay, right, I've cemented, I think I know what's going on here. So can we go through what has actually happened with this guy then?
Yes. Spoilers. If you're still listening and you have you got this far and you still don't want to know anything, for God's sakes, go away. Come back after you watch the film. But
can I ask the question then? Has this guy been created by the cult to form a sort of conduit between an afterworld type weird demon world and the actual world?
Pretty much, yeah. He's
Right,
been
okay.
created to be literally an empty man, an empty vessel to be filled by this alien demon, whatever it is, death god thing.
Yeah, and the whole point of his memories is to and his guilt about the death of his wife and the death of his son and the fact that he was having an affair with his partner's with his cop partner's wife. And basically shags her during the funeral, which also is during the fact that his wife and child die.
Yeah.
They is all there just to keep him feeling despondent and hollow, feeling emotionally hollow. It's all just memories just implanted in there. Because if you think about it, and this is something that did come to my mind as we were watching the flashbacks, it's like, what kind of fucking scumbag have you got to literally on the day your mate basically carks it, you let your wife and child go home alone and then stay there to shag the widower? It's like, wow, that's some hardcore moves there. That's I don't quite know where that's come from.
Yeah. Although she did have a nice, sexy lingerie on for that as well.
Well, as you would when you're having your husband's funeral, you've got to be prepared. Apparently,
Of course.
you never know. So in hindsight, I look back on it and go, yeah, that was a bit all super convenient that everything happened on the same night. You know what I mean? But Yeah, I mean, that is essentially, he was literally willed into being by the cult to replace Paul, the the guy who fell down the hole in the first place,
The flute blower.
the flute blower.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's it. I mean, I guess the problem, the question I want to ask is just what's the deal with Tibetan bone flutes compared to having a bottle on a bridge? I don't quite. That's the problem I have all the way through. Is there's lots of stuff that's there, and you think this is a really good idea, and then when you put like 1 second of thought into it, you go, "Well, he wasn't sitting on the bridge; he was literally just sitting on the cliff, and he had a bone. He was blowing over the top of the bone. It wasn't a bottle, and I don't know.
Well, that's it. That's that's a folklore ritual kind of. It has to have that internal logic of that, you know what I mean? There's a whole thing that like, you know, scholars do stuff called like legend tripping. And you know, every town, every place has somewhere that, according to local kids, is haunted or fucked up. Someone died there was an accident there, someone was murdered there, someone went mad there. And you have these little customs where people will go there on a certain night and have to do a certain sort of thing, like a little challenge. And supposedly if you do it, that will summon whatever haunts the place.
Yeah.
There's an abandoned windmill near me that was abandoned for years. Now it's a nice farmhouse, but it was said if you ran around that 9 times at midnight, the ghost of a man who committed a horrible axe murder of several children there would come out of the ruin of the windmill and chase you.
Right.
You know, there's
I
tons
thought you were going to say you'd feel a shortness of breath or something like that. You know, something
Well, no,
nice
yeah,
and
there's-
simple, straightforward. Ooh.
Oh no! But you know, there's all sorts of things like that where you can summon up these sort of things, or you get a certain effect, and it ties into the original story of, you know what I mean. Whereas this, I did that disconnect between. So I was thinking, all right, you give me this long prologue for a reason. I was looking for the connections. I was going, so bridge, that's not quite it though. But empty bottle, bone flute, it's the same thing. I'm not sure. Oh, it is it? And it's a shame. It's kind of, for the want of a few minor details.
Yeah.
I like the idea of, you know, there was kind of like an ancient, you know, Tibetan ritual you could do in the modern world, kind of, you know, by accident. With different materials. I think, you know, that the mirroring would just give it that power again, I think.
Yeah. I mean, would this count as a Lovecraftian style thing, by the way, or was I way off base when I was thinking about that?
Well, no, there is kind of a cosmic horror thing, because once it starts out, well, we have Tibetan Prologue, Indiana Jones and the Death God of Doom. Then we get the film proper, and we've got seemingly, you know, weird deaths related to sort of, you know, modern urban sort of, you know, folklore and creepypasta with the Empty Man, and that's something. But then he finds that this is linked to a cult, and it's particularly the guy he meets who kind of seems to be, you know, say, warned him, don't get any further into this. And, you know, these kind of people have not got, you know, 10-year plan. They've got like 10-century plans. And that's when it does get cosmic, this idea that this is just the modern manifestation of something very, you know, very ancient, that some overprivileged twats fucking around Lonely Planet style have accidentally woken up again.
Yeah. I mean,
but it doesn't quite develop it near enough. I mean, it gets there. I mean, I think there's a great scene where he goes to the camp and there's that bonfire.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I was going to bring that up, actually. What did we think of that scene?
That I thought was really, really good.
Fucking bonkers. Mental.
And what about you, Elton? How was that for you, that one?
That's a long one. And it's probably got the most tense I got in it, I think. Especially going into the cabins just before. And you see the teddy bear and you're like, that's gonna move, isn't it? That little shit is gonna move. and VHS. What people watching VHSs as well. I didn't realize how creepy that was
Yeah.
until they've disappeared off our radar. And now you look at them and go, "Fuck! How did we watch EastEnders when we just recorded it? Because that would have been creepy ass shit back in the 80s and 90s." But yeah, you had that moment, and then you see like there's a beautiful shot of the teddy bear where it just nods its head. You're like, "Oh, you fucker, you absolute fucker!" That's brilliant. I love it. But then you have all like the nighttime shots on the VHSs as well. That's always creepy. That's always real good for a scare. And what the hell is going on? This is all very familiar things from very peculiar angles.
Yeah.
But it has that vibe. But the ritual around the bonfire, I was thinking, how long has he been stood there? Because of the bonfire going out and the "oh no you don't" moment as well, which I thought was brilliant.
I did like that. It's like, yeah, nah. The first sensible. How many horror films have we watched? This is the first sensible person in any horror film ever. You know, 3,000 people suddenly look at him and take one step forward, and he just goes, "Nah, I'm out. Peace."
But yeah, that was a very creepy moment. But I didn't find it too scary at all. I think that was the most scared I got through it, and I just felt uncomfortable. If you can understand that, instead of being really truly creeped out, you kind of knew the beats that were gonna. I think that's the problem with the film. Sometimes you kind of know the beats that are there, waiting in the background that are going to hit you. And especially when he's looking at the VHSs and you can see the teddy bear in the background, that's just shouting at you, "There's going to be something happening over there in a minute. Just keep your eye on that."
Yeah, it's the old trick, and this is going back to what we were saying about like things that you start to notice after watching more and more of them. That whole thing of it, you know, if the film has always had the characters front and center, right in the slam bang in the middle of the shot, then the minute they give you a shot where there's like about 3/4 empty space for no discernible reason whatsoever, and the character's over in the far left or the far right, don't watch the character. Watch the fucking far left or the far right. It's just like, yeah,
that space is going to be filled, isn't it?
Yeah. And the only film that's ever double bluffed me on that was The Descent, where she's looking out of a cabin window, and you think, "Oh no, here we go. Something's going to appear at that window," and she's looking at it for about a good 5 minutes, and you think, "Any second now," and you're getting more and more tense, and then someone just hands her a drink from the left, right beside her, and you're like, "Ooh, fuck!" It's literally the camera's got you looking one way, and they use that against you, and it's quite cool. But anyway, yeah, I mean, so you appreciated it more this time round than Elton, the second time round.
Yeah, I think I did. There was moments. Okay, the first 22 minutes are the prologue, and I flipping loved it. That was brilliant. And what I liked about this movie, it done it a couple of times. There's two moments during this movie where you are scared, or was meant to be feeling tense and scared, where you see the silhouette of the person, thing, whatever it is. But you're not in the dark. You're in the blizzard white. And also in the steam room as well. It's not dark. It's brilliantly white. It's almost overlit. And you're finding it hard to look through. And not a lot of movies do that, because it's always in the shadows, in the dark, just behind that little dark thing over there.
Yeah.
And it's very, very peculiar to have that feeling of, my God, it's bright, and that thing over there is coming towards me. That is creepy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the first 22 minutes I think was really good. There are echoes through the whole movie. I think there's a moment where they spin, I forget what they're called. They spin them little token things. And there's another moment where our main character, I forget his name, sorry, he goes into a garden and finds the dead dog.
Yes.
And as he walks back, he pushes the rotary washing line, which kind of harks back to them pushing the totems.
Yeah.
And I silly little things like that please me.
Yeah.
That makes me happy because that's a little nod back, but it's a very, very subtle one.
Yeah. I mean, I like all of that stuff. I like symbolism and all that kind of stuff. That makes, I agree. It makes you kind of sitting there going, oh, I can see what this is trying to do. Ooh, very cool. But I mean, what was it you didn't like in the first bit, and then suddenly liked in the second watch? Is what I'm trying to say. There was something that you watched the first time around, you thought, oh, this is too slow, and then the second time round, was it percolating in? Because I was going to say the thing I kept thinking about, and this may be apocryphal, and I might just get someone stab me in the back, leap out of the shadows or something, was it made me feel like the first time I saw Blade Runner, which is I sit there and go, what the? What am I watching? And then you're kind of thinking, but then it keeps niggling at the back of your brain, and you sort of start to think, well, actually, maybe there's something there.
I think it was when we went to the gathering in the hall with the guy who laid a load of exposition about what Tulba is and what Empty Man is, and the state of mind, and saying your name many, many times makes it lose all meaning, but really, does it?
Yeah.
That was okay. When he turned around and said, I've never been here. Oh, okay. It was trying to hit home something, and I was, okay, he's got something to do with it. He's been here before. I can all work that out. That's pretty easy for me.
Yeah.
But then it didn't, nothing really happened with it. And it kind of went off the boil. And I think I was hoping to hear some more or see some more. Just, it slowed down dramatically around about hour 40. and that's a bad, it should be ramping up there. You're in the final stretches.
Yeah.
But it was kind of limbering itself out. It's like, oh, we're going to have another stretch now and see if we can pad this out a little bit. And it kind of lost my interest up until the end. And by the time everything is really being explained to me, I wasn't with it.
Yeah.
I was there watching it, taking it in, but I don't think I was taking it in enough to really care about it. And I was honestly sitting there going, I'm not enjoying this. I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. And so I let it sit for a day, gave it another go today.
Yeah.
And it did work for me a lot more. I couldn't explain what. I think, as you said, Jim, once he has been explained, then going back and showing you the tulpa and the possession of the guy, you don't need that.
No.
You've just been told what that is.
It's like if The Sixth Sense had like an extra 20 minutes of Bruce Willis going, oh, I can walk through walls. It's completely surplus to requirement. I mean, that should be like the big punch. It's like the end of Seven. It should be big on the end of Fight Club. It should be bang, there's your twist. Good night. Fuck off home.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you and good night. Yes. Well, I mean, what about you, Dal? I mean, because you obviously watched it twice as well, whether you meant to or not. But it's just like, did you have that kind of same thing as Elton? You have that kind of moment of, oh, actually, you know what? This isn't as bad as all that.
Yeah, I kind of did. I must admit, I enjoyed it more. And it's just because, info. That's it. It's like there's stuff there that I was informed of as the movie went on that I didn't see the first time, mainly through being completely unconscious.
Well,
but there you are.
Yeah, I always find consciousness is really a good place to start.
Isn't it? It's a crux point, that, isn't it? You know,
It can make or break your enjoyment of a movie.
I think so. It's not conducive to enjoying a movie, shall we say? Consciousness. No.
But anyway, so I mean, so second time around being awake, did you stick with it a lot more, or were you just still like bored out your gourd?
I stuck with it a little bit more, but I must admit, and this is not the film's fault, but it's like I had the finale of season 1 of the Orville to watch as well. So
you had somewhere better to be, is what you're basically saying.
Yeah, this is it. This is what I wanted to do. So
fine.
It's just it's just, oh, come on! I want this to end now. I want to finish this before I want to finish the Orville before I get home as well. You know.
See, this is the commitment we give to you, ladies and gentlemen. The kind of commitment that only you can get from 51st most popular podcast in Venezuela.
It's like, oh, come on, sweet release, please. This is why I said it was a little bit too long. You know,
yeah,
it just felt a little bit. You know, I don't know that you could. You know, just
you can knock 20 minutes off the ending, literally.
Yeah.
You really. I mean, this time I'm watching it and going like, "Yep, there you go." I mean, that is. You get the reveal, and it just keeps on going, and it kind of undoes all the goodwill it's built up. Basically. Yeah. It's kind of like, but also I think it needs something a bit more than you're investigating this cult. And you know what? They wanted you all along because that's the Wicker Man ending. And can we please stop doing it?
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Any film about a cult, that is now the equivalent of, and he woke up and it was all a dream. It was like, every time, stop it, please. Come up with a different one. You know what I mean? Why don't somebody else and he has to blow him away and then a huge hell demon pours out his head and eats him? So anything, you know, throw bananas at it. Just get creative.
There you go. Throw bananas at it. That'll be our movie. If we ever make a movie, it's going to be called Demon. Throw bananas at it.
I've got that scene. I've got the scene already in my head.
I bet you
right. Okay, director's cut where you've got one of its victims. It's got happens to have a bunch of bananas in its rucksack, right? And it's the whole big thing of like the big build up of, and as it comes over, he lobs a banana at it, and suddenly every record scratch, and the empty man's like, "What the fuck was that, dude?
Yeah,
did you just throw a banana at me?
Oh, fuck!
Yeah.
It was a high in potassium, man. You don't waste bananas."
I'm not the empty apart from having a banana man, am I? No, I'm the empty man. You just threw food at me.
Yeah, what's your fucking problem? People are dying in Africa, man. You could have spent this elsewhere. Jesus.
That's bruised now. Who's going to want it? It's bruised. Now, I want you need to go away and think about what you've done.
Yeah.
Apologise to the grocers of America now for this gross misconduct towards a piece of fruit.
And the detective. The clue is in the name because the detective's called Dole.
Yeah.
One for you, banana lovers.
Dole 5.
Dole 5. Yeah. Dole.
I feel like we've gone slightly off the point.
Do you think we've kind of trailed off? Yeah, I mean, does anybody have anything additional to say about it? Because my final thoughts are, it's a film that I really, really, really wanted to like, and I was willing it along, and there was too much getting in the way. The first act I thought was great, the second act not so much. But if someone was to turn around and say to me there was a director's cut which was significantly trimmed down, or re-edited to make a little bit more sense or make a bit more clarity, whether we were worried about the empty man or the cult or something like that, then I'd be inclined to. I wouldn't be adverse to seeing it again.
Well, no.
Do you know what,
if the director said this, he said this is a rough work print. In his opinion, if he gets the money and is allowed to do his own preferred cut, I'd definitely give this film another go. And so there was so much in it I really did like. It just it's just not very well structured, and it's kind of. He said, "Well, that's a rough print." And it's kind of, well, that makes in perfect sense. Of course, it is. And it's happened before. Films have been released in shitty prints that the studio said, "No, we'll just do this, it'll be fine." And then director's cuts have come along and improved them, often radically. I mean, theatrical Blade Runner to director's cut Blade Runner.
Yep.
Very different beasts.
Very different, yeah. Cool. Darren, you were going to say something just before we wrap it up?
It would be nice to see a film like this where somebody had a happy life before all this shit happened. All this shit seems to happen to people who have already got a shit ton of misery on their doorstep. You know? It's like, why can't we have somebody who's like quite satisfied with everything? He's like in a decent job, hasn't left his job because he hasn't invertedly caused the death of someone by, I don't know, sneezing into a tissue or something. Just like
the coronavirus edition.
Yeah, no, he's not even that. Just this shit happens to someone who's actually his life's, pretty much on track. I think that would be even more of a tragedy because it's like you can see they're on a slippery slope already with this sort of thing. But, imagine having that. Somebody who had a really good life and all of a sudden it gets turned upside down because of this fucking event.
Yep.
Even more.
Well, the whole thing of a cop with a tragedy, a bad home life, particularly usually substance abuse, corruption, and general dodginess, moral dodginess. Can we retire that for a few years and have some coppers who are, actually trying to do the job properly for once?
Yeah. Yeah. Any last thoughts on it, Elton?
Weirdly, yeah, I would watch this again. As I've come away from the second viewing, I quite like it. It's weird to say I'd watch a director's cut where there's more cut out. That's weird. But
yeah, well, no, you say that, but the director's cut of Alien, for example, is like shorter than the original cut.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Ridley Scott is actually one of those directors who, when he does a director's cut, sometimes turns out something that's actually shorter.
Okay.
Little fact file for you.
I would watch a different cut of this. I can see why it is growing to be a cult film. Because you would have that people sit down and go, well, this sort of shit happens, and blowing bottles and stuff like that. And hopefully that will build up into something else. It should. It has the potential to do that. I don't want to scare the crap out of people for no reason whatsoever and awake the Babadook again. But it has that potential to be a cult film which could blow up in 15, 20 years' time.
Yeah.
That being said, also, there are some shots in there that I really liked as well.
Yeah. Go for it.
I always like close-ups of computer screens, when he's scrolling through the internet.
Yeah.
Really like them. I don't know why. I think it's just the high-res screens and big fonts and sharp corners on the actual fonts that are projected, but it looks good. But there was that moment where he threw the map down and then we twisted into the map and all the writing on the map turned into trees.
Oh, yeah. I like
and then we swooped down behind the truck. It was as he was going to the cabins. I thought that was a cracking little shot.
Yeah, there was lots of stuff like that, I think, which was lovely and inventive. And that goes back to what Jim was saying, what I was saying, that whole thing of, it's got lots of stuff in it. It's got lots of stuff in it I like, the map shot is a good one. The shot when he's watching all the flames and everything twizzle up into the sky at the camp, and then all of a sudden he looks back down and the flames are completely gone. And there's just like 75 people standing on a hill just looking at him, and it's like,
oh good lord,
something. It's all gone wonky. And the VHS stuff I also liked. I tell you what I did like, it really did actually freak me out, was the second visit of the empty man to his house. when he looks down the corridor, and all of a sudden the head just pops up from the stairs. And it was just like, fuck that. Thank you very much indeed. Fuck yeah, fuck that, fuck that, fuck that. But again, he does the sensible thing. First thing he does is go for a fucking baseball bat. Like, yep, I would. Or run away.
The only thing I'm still puzzled about is when he was on that gantry. He was poking his nose around, and that woman with the stopwatch heard the noise, and so she clicked the stopwatch and to time something, and they're calling out, "Is someone there?" You know, where you had like the blackboard behind them, and they were blowing the bottles, right? And then there's another version of him down the bottom with all the files.
Yeah, I didn't quite get that myself, actually. At first I thought it was because he was now the empty man, but the empty man, he hadn't been possessed at that point.
No, he hadn't been found, had he?
No.
But I don't know whether... I was not going anywhere near time travel, and it doesn't deserve to go anywhere near time travel, because you start doing that kind of fucks it up.
I mean, anyone else got any theories on that?
Nah.
Or was it just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks at this point? Because, I mean, I thought when it sort of did that and he's underneath the gantry, and they'd made such a deal of him, like I say, made such a deal of him sort of trying to see what was underneath the gantry. And I thought, oh, yeah, fair enough. He's trying to see something that we're not going to see, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But the only thing I've got in my mind was that he was, when he became, and this is where it all gets muddled up, but when he became the empty man at the end, when you see the sort of CGI goo go into him and he's wandering around, I kind of figured that we were seeing him as him, but actually they were all seeing like a big dark shadow.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? But that's as close as I could get, was that, you know, he was now the empty man. He was just transcendent and just flipping around reality and doing wherever he was called. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which kind of gets into a strange bit, because then that means that he was visiting himself on the bridge and chasing himself up the stairs. And you start to think about it like that, you suddenly go, oh, hang on, I don't think they've thought this through.
It's like all the stuff in the first act, what actually happened and what didn't.
Well, exactly, yeah. Was any of that sort of talking to the wife business or finding the daughter, was any of that stuff actually real at all? And then you get into a situation where you're kind of like, well, if none of it at the beginning mattered, then it's sort of doubly wasted your time. And, you know, I don't want to say that it has wasted your time, but there's certainly a sort of feeling that might have been the case.
Yeah, it's weird because, yeah, it could be a case of everything just happening and him going through the motions where he walks into that house and he thinks he's talking to the mother of Amanda. Is it Amanda? Yeah, I'm sure it's Amanda.
Yeah, it's Amanda.
But he's doing the actions, but she's not there. Then you start thinking, well, how is this actually working? What is really going on here? What is really true? Was he ever really working at a shop?
Yeah. Well, it does get to that point of like, well, then who did he drop off? Who did he drop off at the, at the hotel? You know, was he being pursued by? Was he being pursued by a cult? Was he even there? You know, why did they chase him like that to keep him like that? Why did he have to discover all this shit? You know what I mean? It's
weird. But one thing I did catch on the second time round is because he had that voucher to get the birthday meal or money off of that.
Yeah.
And they come out with the candle and the cake, and there's one candle on it.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay.
That's
First birthday.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't realise that. Thanks. That's a good one. I like that.
I thought that was really, really good.
Yeah, that was kind of right there, right front and centre, right in your face, wasn't it? again, that's the sort of thing where you kind of go, oh, that's a nice detail. I like that. And again, you think, give me a bit more of that, and a little less of him just kind of strolling around in the rain, kind of looking morosely at nothing. Okay, well, that's interesting. I didn't think about that. That's a good spot, actually, Elton.
Yeah.
I might have to go and watch this again, thinking about it.
I think it does deserve it.
Yeah? Okay.
It helped me a lot. I know that. But I think it is a film where it does deserve it.
Okay. Well, then I might well do that, actually. I might come to regret that in a week's time, but I will do it. Right, okay. Well, in which case we shall wrap it up there, unless anyone has any objections. And
No,
cool, okay. And like I say, The Empty Man is available on Starz on Disney Plus, if anybody wants to check it out. And if anybody has any thoughts, if there's anything we've missed or anything you want to say, just bring it up. Then by all means, go to blackdogpodcast.com and hit the contact us page, or go to the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Black Dog Podcast, or just email us feedback@blackdogpodcast.com and we'll read it out next week. Right, so let's before we go to Pimp's Corner and find out what's going on with Jim and Elton's individual podcasts, what we're going to do is we are going to now do something slightly different, because for those long-term listeners know that obviously, you know, Elton's got a pick, but Elton has already confessed, if I may speak for you, sir, that you're not the most knowledgeable of horror fans, are you?
No.
Right, okay. So
I don't know shit.
So what we've elected to do, ladies and gentlemen, is we've elected to play this.
Mr. and Mrs.
Oh, yeah.
Be nice to each other.
Yes, we are. We're playing Mr. and Mrs. Well, what we actually are doing is a version of Mr. and Mrs. where, for those of you who know this, and it may also be known as the dating game, I think, in the States, isn't it? Or something like the honeymooners or the husband and wife game or something like that.
Hey,
Am
give
I
them a
going
big
on a
dating
date?
show, game show.
No,
kiss.
you're not going on a date. We're just nicking the format where we stuck headphones on Elton, and me and Jim and Darren basically came up with a list of films. And then what we plan to do, and this is what we're doing right now, is we're going to read these names to Elton, and Elton's going to pick from the five films that we have suggested. I'm going to read them out so that Elton doesn't have a clue of who picked them and in what context they were picked. And then finally, and the reason there was 5 was because 2 of us overlapped on a second option. And then we also, just for gentleman's bet, placed a bet on what we thought Elton was going to pick.
Oh, no.
Yes, we did. So there you go.
I feel so used.
Yes, you are. You're like a dirty hanky. Right. So, Elton, Dirty Hanky McManus. We are going to read, or rather, I am going to read to you the choices of the jury, of your peers.
Okay.
These are all available on streaming service, and it goes like this. We have As Above, So Below, Hush, The Changeling, The Void, and The Endless. Which one of those 5 films do you think you would like to see next week as your choice? I will go through it again in a different order. The Void, Hush, The Endless, The Changeling, and As Above, So Below.
Oh, man. I've seen 2 of them.
Have you?
I've seen The Void and I've seen The Endless.
Okay. So
do I go for something I've seen or do I go for something
Well,
not.
that knocks 2 out if you take out the ones you've seen. But if you go for ones you haven't seen, that leaves you with 3. So, we've all placed a bet on what we thought you were going to pick. So, what do you think you will go for?
Okay. I think As Above, So Below is a found footage. I think.
I'm saying nothing. I'm keeping it completely neutral because there was much discussion while
Right.
you were offline.
Oh. Now, oh. I want to say endless, but I'd like to do them in order. If we do these films, we have to do them in order.
Okay.
I can't remember. Relentless
Resolution.
or something. Resolution.
Oh,
there.
right, yes.
That's the first one, isn't it?
Okay.
So I'm going to knock out the endless,
Madam. Okay.
the Changeling, Hush, and As Above, So Below. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Changeling sounds grim. Hush sounds like a Cooler Shaker song. And
Dang, 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 boop, boop. Na 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 na.
I don't know. I'm drawn to the Changeling.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with that.
Okay. So you have chosen, just to confirm, the Changeling.
Oh God.
Okay. Well, first off, none of us picked the film that we thought you were going to go for.
Okay.
So there you go. So we don't know you at all. However, both Darren and I had you pegged for The Endless. So we
Yep.
were in with a shout by the sound of things.
Mm-hmm.
And the choice, the Changeling, was my pick.
Okay.
Jim had As Above, So Below. Both Jim and I picked Hush as our second option. And Darren had The Void and The Endless.
Right.
So that's why there was 5, not 6, because me and Jim overlapped with Hush. So you're going for the Changeling.
Yeah. Is As Above, So Below a found footage movie?
It certainly is
Right.
set in the catacombs. Set in the catacombs under Paris, and based on the conversations we had off air, Darren was very keen not to watch this film.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Weren't he? Am I wrong, Mr. Barnard?
Yeah. Shall I tell him like the phrase?
Go for it.
Okay. So while I'm watching this film, this was the phrase that I kept repeating over and over again. What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? Turn around. What the fuck are you doing?
Let's go deeper into the
Go
catacombs.
back. Go back. What the fuck are you doing?
So there you go. So I haven't seen it, so I couldn't possibly mention that. Anyway, so the Changeling it stars George C. Scott. It was made in 1980, so it's old school, and it's available on Amazon Prime. And do you want me to read you the premise, or do you want to go in completely blind?
Premise, please.
Okay, The Changeling is a 1980 film. It's a Canadian supernatural psychological horror that follows a composer who relocates to Seattle and moves into a mansion. That's all I'm telling you.
Okay. Have you guys seen this then?
I have, and so has Jim.
Oh, I
Yep.
haven't.
Yes. Jim, would you just like to say something on this matter? On this one?
It's a standout performance from George C. Scott. It's a very literate film, and it's increased many people's laundry bills over the years.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Anyone want to take a bet on how many potatoes out of 10 this might go for, Jim? You want to take a bet?
As I say, at least 6.
I was going to say, I'd say a 6 or a 7 at least.
Oh, God.
we may be pushing up to a full 8 once it gets towards the end. I suspect, though. we may be on for a full buffet dinner with extra roast potatoes and maybe some stuffing. So there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, next week's film, Elton's unwitting pick, is The Changeling, starring George C. Scott, and it is available on Amazon Prime. Yeah, I don't really want to say anything else. I want you to just go in blind on this one. I think you'll enjoy it.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah, let's move over to Pimp's Corner while Elton's quietly crying to himself. Jim, do you want to tell us a little about something about going on in Hypnagoria Land?
Yes, over on my main show, I'm doing a double dose of Adam Neville, looking at the new movie version of one of his novels, No One Gets Out Alive, and reviewing his new novel, which is just out this week, called Cunning Folk, which is rather good. On Commentary Club, we're doing commentary for Jaws.
Nice.
And I've just released a little story called Room for One on my reading show, which is a little ghost story set in October.
Nice. Nice. And speaking of Adam Neville, The Ritual, for those of you in the UK, is on, I think, Film 4 this week. So do check that out. That's very good. Okie dokie. Right. Well, there you go. So that's all over in hypnagoria.com, yes?
It is indeed.
Lovely jubbly. Okie dokie. Well then, what about you, Mr. Elton? What's going on in the Rogue 2 Media Centre?
Okay. Shonky Lab. I've just released an episode on Halloween, weirdly. And I did that with Amber. She's an American who loves Halloween. I'm a Brit who doesn't like Halloween.
And hijinks ensues.
Yeah, kind of. And then we will be forming together to combat crime.
Yeah, because when they got together, it was murder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And normal stuff on Grand Prix podcast as well.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. Nothing much from me. Darren, you doing
Absolutely bugger all, mate. I tell you.
Okie dokie. I couldn't possibly comment on whether or not there'll be a Dune podcast coming soon, because I am seeing the bastard thing on Thursday.
Same here.
Thursday lunchtime. That's it. I'm in. Done.
Yeah, Thursday night for me.
Yeah. So there is a possibility of something appearing, but I won't say anything until I know for sure. So yes, Dune. 2 hours and 55 minutes of sitting there watching sand. What's not to love? Well, AKA Mum, I've got worms. Anyway, right. So that's it from me anyway. Right, so thank you very much for listening. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Darren. Thank you, Elton.
No problem.
And thank you all for listening. And like I say, get in contact with us the usual ways. But until next week when we rejoin for The Changeling, yes, we'll see you all next time. Take care, stay safe, and we'll see you again soon. Till then, tatty bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on.
Get out of the booth, Jack.
No, I like it in here.